Welcome back to the Learn English podcast, the podcast teaching English in context so you can learn naturally. My name is Dr. C, and on today's episode, we will be discussing one of the best words of all time, dude. It's not one of my favorite words per se, but it is definitely one of the words I use the most often in everyday conversations. Americans love the word dude, and they use it all the time. We even have song titles and movie titles with it in there. So, on today's episode, we will be discussing the word dude and how you can use it in your everyday conversations to sound like a native. Before we get into how to use the word dude, we will discuss a little bit its history. So, the word dude, what it means right now, is not what it's always meant. Historically, the meaning has actually changed over time. Back in the 1800s and early 1900s, the word dude actually meant someone who was well dressed and from the city. Cowboys in the western part of the United States were more rugged. They worked outside, they worked with cattle and on ranches and farms. So their means of dress, the cowboy hat and cowboy boots, was different from people who worked in the city and maybe wore suit and ties to work every day. Because of this, cowboys started using the word dude as a way to describe someone who was a little bit more flashy with their dress, a little bit dressed up, and who wouldn't fit in if they actually went to a ranch or a farm. Someone whose suit and tie that they wore to work every day would not work on a farm. And that was kind of a derogatory word for cowboys. When they would say the word dude, they weren't using it as a compliment. They were using it as a way to insult someone who was from the city and who wouldn't fit in with their way of life. Now, gradually over time, this meaning changed, and instead of becoming being an insult, it actually became just synonymous with someone who was well dressed, someone who's very stylish, right? Someone from the city and had a very fashionable way of dressing. Surf culture, particularly in Hawaii and California, the state that I live, had a very big impact in changing the meaning of dude yet again. So in the 1960s, dude became part of surf culture in these states, Hawaii and California, states that are known for having a very strong surf culture, a very popular surf culture. Dude became part of the vernacular, we would say, part of the everyday speech, the slang among surfers, and it became a way of greeting each other. Now, this was very informal, laid back, and dude became associated with this laid back, carefree, having fun in the sun type culture. So, surf culture, which involved movies and TV shows and other media, helped popularize this term. So, the term dude, instead of just staying locally in California and Hawaii, started spreading to the rest of the United States and even to the rest of the English speaking world. Today, dude has evolved a lot. It is a term that you can still use to greet someone, a very informal, friendly way of greeting someone. And it's a unisex term. So you can say dude to either a male or a female. For example, I have called my male friends dude. I've called my female friends dude. I've even called my mom dude. It is just a ubiquitous term, we would say. It's just a term that you can use with anyone in an informal setting. Now, there's some other ways that you could use dude as well, besides just greeting, and it's kind of taken on these other meanings. Before we get into those, though, just a quick reminder about a few things. Dude is still an informal word, so I would not suggest using this at a business meeting or when you're talking with your doctor or lawyer, for example. This is more with your family, friends, laid back, informal settings. The other thing I would say, even though some people do it personally, I never call someone dude who I don't know. So For example, if I'm just meeting someone for the first time, I would not call them dude. If I have a relationship, if they're one of the people kind of closer to me, then I would use that word. But for me personally, I would find it a little bit rude if someone just referred to me as dude the first time I met them. It would seem a little bit odd. We don't have that relationship yet. So I would not do that. Again, some other people do, especially if you're with younger people or with people who are still maybe very much into surf culture, but personally, I wouldn't do it. Now, let's talk about some other ways that Americans use the word dude besides just greeting someone. There are a few different ways you can use it. I love the word dude because you can use it in almost any context. You can use it when you're mad, when you're sad, when you're confused, when you're shocked, when you're excited, when you're happy. Any scenario, you can use the word dude. Dude really depends on the person's voice, their tone, their inflection, and in the context of what's happening around them. So let's go over some examples, some practice scenarios where you could use the word dude, and hopefully you can hear the difference of how it's being used in certain ways. So the first example is when you're talking about a stranger to another person, not when you're talking to the stranger, but when you're telling someone else about a stranger, about a person that you don't know. So let's do an example. If I come home and there's some man standing in front of my house waiting for me, when I'm telling the story later to my friend, I might say, there was some random dude standing in front of my house when I got home. So I'm not talking to the stranger, I'm not calling him dude, but to describe him to my friend or family member, I would call him a dude, some random dude who's standing in front of my house. So you can use this again to describe someone that you don't know when you're telling somebody else about them. The second example is when you are talking to your friends and you're surprised or shocked by something. It could be in a good way or in a bad way. So, for example, if your friend tells you that they applied for a promotion and they got it, that would be a happy example. That's something that they're happy about and that you would be happy for them. So you could say, dude. So that way of saying dude is an excited way, a very shocking but happy way. Could also be bad. Let's say that they applied for the promotion, they thought they were going to get it, and they didn't. You could say, dude. Again, you're hearing new news, you're a little bit shocked by it, but the difference in tone, the difference in the way you say those and your facial expressions, it would mean two different things. Happy, dude. Sad, dude. Two different ways. A third way you could use the word dude is when you are asking questions. So let's say that you are waiting for your friend. You're waiting for them. You're supposed to meet up and have dinner together, and they're not there. They were supposed to show maybe a half hour ago, and you're just sitting and waiting for them. So you would call them and say, dude, where are you? Another example of a question, dude, where's my car? So when you're asking, you are in a way calling your friend dude, but you're also just showing your state of being confused. Having that dude at the beginning of your question shows that you're a little bit confused, wondering what's happening. Sometimes could be mad, sometimes could be happy, again, depending on your context. Dude, where are you? Dude, where's my car? Dude, what's going on right now? Something along those lines just shows that you're looking for an answer and you're confused by the situation. Now, another way that you could use dude is when you're mad at life, when something is going wrong and you just want to say it in an angry or frustrated way. Now, this can be said when you're just by yourself, so you're not calling any particular person dude. You're just using it to maybe call the scenario dude or even use it as a curse word. So let's say you're really mad or you're really frustrated. You could say a curse word, you could say a bad word, or you could just say the word dude and be really frustrated. So, for example, let's say that you're at home, you're opening up a letter, and you see that it's a giant bill, a bill that you didn't know you had to pay. So, when you're looking at that bill, you could look at it and say, dude, you're frustrated, you're mad. And you can just use that word to kind of vent your anger and vent your frustration out into the world. Another way to use dude is to put it in a phrase or saying. And one of my favorite ways that I personally use it is the saying, dude, seriously. I love dude. I use it all the time. I use it in a bunch of different contexts. But having that seriously, having that additional word at the end of dude gives it a little bit more punch, just makes it a little bit more serious, no matter what the context is. So, again, you can use this phrase when you're happy, when you're mad, when you're excited. Any context, it works just depending on your inflection, your tone, and what the context is around you. And again, it's something that you might hear native speakers say, and you'd have to evaluate the context, what's happening to kind of get the meaning, what they're trying to say. So just like with dude, we'll go through a couple examples how you could use this phrase, and you'll see how it's similar to dude, but it just has a little bit more to it, just a little bit more force behind it, a little bit more punch to it to make it sound more dramatic. Example number one, you are driving and someone cuts you off in traffic. You're mad and you go, dude, seriously? Again, you're kind of calling the other driver dude. You're also kind of calling the situation dude and using it as a way to vent your anger. So you're saying it in a frustrated, angry tone. Dude, seriously? Personally, I do this all the time. I have to admit it. The second way that you could use it is if someone got hurt. Let's say your friend called you and said they got cut off in traffic and they got in a car accident and their car got damaged and they got hurt. When they're telling you this, you're a little bit shocked to hear it, and you can say, dude, seriously? In this case, it means that you're shocked that you're hearing it, but you're also asking, like, really? Or are you being serious right now? This isn't a joke. So having that seriously part is just acknowledging what they're saying, but then also kind of asking them, like, wow, really? Did that really happen to you? Are you being true right now? Are you being honest with me? So that, dude, seriously, is a way of expressing those emotions. Another way that you can say it is when you are happy for someone. So you can say the phrase, dude, seriously, with a smile. And you can say it maybe when you're a little bit shocked or when you're just happy for something, that something happened. So let's say that you played the lotto and you check your numbers and you won some money. So you're excited and you're reading the numbers and you say, dude, seriously? You're excited, you're happy. You can also say this to someone when they tell you good news. Again, that seriously part just means that you're maybe asking in a way like, did this really happen? Is this actually true? Are you telling me the truth right now? So if someone tells you that they won the lotto, you can look at them and say, dude, seriously? Asking them, showing them that you're excited, but then again, asking them if they're really telling you the truth, or just maybe a polite way of asking them if they're telling you the truth. A fourth way to use the word dude is when you are showing appreciation, something's unexpected. Again, you're a little bit shocked, but you're appreciative of it. So let's say that someone gives you a gift, a very expensive gift or a big gift, something that you weren't expecting, you're not expecting anything from them, and they do something nice for you. You can look at them and say, dude, seriously? Now, this isn't as loud, maybe, as some of the other examples we've gone over. You're saying it in more of a quiet way, more of a reserved way, but just having that part is showing that you weren't expecting it, that you were shocked. By saying the phrase, dude, seriously, you're telling the person that what they did was unexpected, but that you're really grateful for it. So you're smiling, you're happy, but appreciative of what they've done for you. And the last way that you can use this phrase, or you might hear this phrase, is when someone's frustrated or a little bit disappointed in someone. Now, as a high school teacher who works with teenagers, I can tell you that I have used this last way quite often in my working professional life. And it's just one of those things that comes out when you're just a little bit annoyed with how someone's acting. So let's say, for example, a student turns in a half-done assignment, or they turn in an assignment and it only has their name written at the top. So what I would do is I would look at that paper and I would look at them and say, dude, seriously? This means that I'm frustrated with them. I'm a little bit annoyed and was expecting more from them, or I would expect that they would be able to complete something that their behavior was obviously wrong or obviously unacceptable. So having that connotation, that inflection with your voice just conveys to the person that you're feeling like you're frustrated with how they're acting. You expect better of them. Well, I hope you learned a little bit about the word dude and how it can be used in different phrases and contexts. So when a native speaker says it to you, you can understand what they mean. I also hope you learned about how to use the word dude. You can say it when you're mad, you can say it when you're happy, but the most important part is that you try and say it. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave a comment in the comment section below and tell me, how do you like to use the word dude? If you're liking this podcast so far, leave us a rating on whatever app you're using to listen to the podcast. Like and subscribe so you don't miss our next episode when it comes out next week. And until then, keep learning English.